Good evening. Welcome to the Collateral podcast. So good to have you guys with us from wherever you are watching. We're excited to have you here. Excited to have you on board with us today. Not in fate's hands says nice shirts, boys. Thank you very much. Tonight on the podcast, I've got Rusty with me. How you going, Rusty? Fantastic. So good to Kevin. So good to have you on the podcast tonight. And then we've got a very special guest with us tonight. Acethem from 1620 Kings. So good to have you here. How you doing tonight? No, yeah, fantastic. We've been admirers and watchers of 1620 Kings for quite some time now, so we're excited to have you here on the podcast. Why don't you start off the podcast by just telling us a little bit about how about yourself? Kind of obviously we know you from 1620 Kings, but just give us a bit of a background on who is Acethem. Oh, hang on, I've lost audio again somehow. Oh, there we go. Yep.
Can you hear me, or
Yeah, yeah,
is it
you're
all
good.
of us that listen?
Yeah, you're good.
So
Yep.
that's a broad question about who is Acethem. I guess in the gaming scene, we'll go from like I guess the beginning. Like I've always played video games from the beginning of like Sega, Mega Drive, all the way through PlayStation, through the Xbox One days, and then sort of solidified myself in PC when I went to an internet cafe and was playing Counter Strike 1.6 and Battlefield 1942 and the Desert Storm mod and all that,
Yeah.
and then just got deep into those types of FPS games. Obviously dabbled in like the MMOs and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
always been in the FPS.
Yeah.
Then Call of Duty came out and Call of Duty 4 did like scrimming and stuff through that. Really loved the sort of competitive side of that. I was just as trash then as I am now, so so it wasn't too competitive, but it was still fun just to go on the forums and pick up scrims and just play that sort of style. We've never sort of did it before then, and it was it's quite fun having a group of 4 or 5 dudes and just going out and slapping cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, I've just been doing my own thing, playing video games with mates, just not really in the competitive scene at all. And then I was just strolling through Facebook. This is probably like maybe a year and a half ago. And there's this guy that posted on a Facebook page saying, I'm looking for people to help manage some teams. It was a Call of Duty org. And I'm like, oh, I'm trash at the game, but I can probably, tell people what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, so I'll do that. So I got into that, and I managed one of the COD teams for a while. And then me and like another guy were just like, oh, we can do this better than this guy. Like we sort of get the idea, and like we can do this better. So we started our own organization called ETS, which is Even the Score. So I ran that for a while and just did anything and everything to do with that organization, including like the graphics, doing the streams, running the comps, doing everything that you would have to do within an organization. It was like a one-man show. Then we started getting some managers, but it just still felt like there was just so much that I had to do. Just running all the socials. I'm sure some of you guys would know, like it's a lot of work having to keep up to date with the amount of socials that are out there and to get noticed, especially when you're a young org. To get yourself noticed, you feel like you have to be on everything.
Yeah.
And have to be on everything, doing it well too. And it's still a learning curve, And then I was just sort of we're doing all right, and I got sort of conversation with Ant from 1620 Kings, and sort of got to talks about maybe me coming across. And I was like, I was friendly with him for a while, and I was like, like they're sort of 2 years to more ahead of where I want to be. And I know I want to be in esports, and ETS was fun, but I knew deep down it wasn't my baby. Like I'm just like, this is just more a learning experience. If another opportunity came along, 100% I would go at it, because I want to be esports, and I'm an older dude, so I need a skyrocket somehow. So I'm like, they came along and like, yeah, I'm doing it. So I just gave it all to the guy I was with at ETS. Pretty much within say a few months, it just like went to dust, and started out as a manager at Kings, and then they promoted me to CEO because they liked what I could do. And yeah, so now we're here, and now just loving it. Like we're doing really well. We're pretty happy with the content we're pushing out, and just like the little changes that maybe I've been able to help implement, I think have really helped. And just I guess the dynamic that I bring to Kings is really good. So that's pretty much it. And then I just play games and content create on the side.
Yeah, awesome. Why don't you why don't you tell us a little bit about 1620 Kings for maybe someone's watching, they don't know who 1620 Kings are. Why don't you give us a rundown? Who is 1620 Kings?
So pretty much 1620 Kings is an organization that is more built around like just supporting gamers in general and mental health behind gaming. So we have a really friendly family built community, and that presents itself through the content creators that we pick up as well. As you can see through Barator, I guess myself, I'm pretty heavy into like health and fitness within the gaming industry. And then obviously we just picked up Lady Loza, who's just like, I've been hunting her for a while, and then she finally became a free agent. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting her. So yeah, just through the people we pick up and just the community we build, and all the managers, we're just all on the sort of same wavelength with everything we do. And that's what we want to do. Like, we want to eliminate toxicity within like gaming just altogether. Like, we all know that's there. Eliminate bullying. As you said, we did a month-long charity stream for Checkpoint, which is a charity that's mainly revolved around mental health in gaming.
Yeah.
So we raise money for them as well. So that's a big part of our brand and what we want to continue going forward with 1620 Kings, while also having an extremely competitive team or teams within our organization.
Yeah, fantastic. And we've
Awesome.
seen that from an exterior. It's been really cool to see what you guys are doing in that mental health space with gaming, because I think it's so important. We've spoken about it on the podcast before about mental health in gaming and how that kind of looks. And I think it's a changing culture where more and more we're attached to our screens, and especially in this day and age that we're going through now with COVID and these in and out lockdowns all the time. Mental health is so important in gaming. So it's really cool to see you guys being almost like the front runners for that sort of space. I don't see a lot of other organizations doing that in that sort of space. So it's been cool to see you guys uh, doing that. What was the reasoning about that being so close to your heart?
I really appreciate that. There isn't like a big. I mean, I was bullied myself at school for being like overweight. So that's obviously why then I got into fitness, and that's why I'm sort of pushing that side, because I feel like if you can sort of get your body fit and improve your own confidence, it can definitely help your mental side. Obviously, it's not the only thing that can help that, but I think it can play a big part. I think the driving force of that is that it really frustrates you when, like, because I know that I sometimes use games as, even now, like back then I used games as an escape bullying. Even now I might use games as an escape from work or a bad day or whatever. It really frustrates me, especially when we have our mental health chat, and kids are writing in there saying blah blah blah. This is happening. I got bullied at school, or they're getting shit talked. In their games. It's sad when you're having kids coming home from being bullied and they want to go on to gaming and get away from it, and they're going on and they're getting bullied on the game itself, and they have no escape. And it's quite a sad thing to see, and especially since I got into Kings, and I implemented that mental health chat. The amount of people that started like coming through there or inboxing me personally is like quite alarming, and it's almost depressing in a way to myself to see that, because it's like I find games so fun, and then these kids just aren't finding it and they have no escape. And we all
Mm,
know as a kid, like, it's hard to, obviously we're trying to make talking about those things more mainstream, but it's hard for kids, I think, to say that to their parents, because usually sometimes the parents can't really do anything when it comes to games. And the one thing they probably will do is just say, okay, no more games for you, which the kid doesn't want. He wants to be able to still play games. When it comes to the bullying
mm,
in school type thing, the parent goes to the school, the teachers tell that kid off for bullying him,
mm.
and then that kid just bullies the kid more. He's like, you're a wuss for, telling on me. So it's just like a vicious cycle. So to have a space where they can come to, even if they're not a part of Kings, anyone in the community can come to us, DM me, DM anyone on the management team. We're 100% open. All of our content creators are more than willing to talk, and they can come and just talk, and even just like discuss with like-minded people. And it doesn't even have to be talking about the issues, just having someone to talk to that they know that won't ever judge them for how they look, how they play, what they do, how they speak, anything. It doesn't matter. Like, I'll play with anyone at any skill level. It doesn't matter, like, so it's just, I think having, it's sort of bad to say. I don't want to say it's like a thing we're sort of pushing individually. It's just something, it's just more organic. It just naturally is something that we like to put out there. And I guess it's good to have a little niche to separate ourselves from the orgs. Like it's always good to be different from other orgs.
Yeah.
And I guess you got to play it in a way where like you don't want to go too extreme where it's like that was wrong, and you don't want to downplay too much where it's like no one notices you. So you do sort of have to follow what the bigger orgs do in a way, but you still got to have your own niche. And I guess if that mental health pushing is our niche, then we'll accept that with open arms and continue to be that org that supports that.
I mean, if you're gonna have a niche, that's
Definitely.
a nice one to be in.
Yeah, no, it's good. We're happy with it, and we think yeah, the community loves it and they're responding to it quite well. And we'll continue to build our players and teams and content creators and management around that style of thinking. Because even with the teams or the players that come in, obviously if you're going to pick up a big team, everyone's different, but we do let them know that this is what we're about. Don't go outside these boundaries, and those are if you do go outside of those types of things or try to downplay what we're promoting or are against what we're trying to promote, then that's something that we just won't accept at all.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, that's fantastic. Um, around kind of what you were saying before about how you kind of ended up with ETS and 1620 Kings. What was there? Had you always had this kind of desire to get into esports, or was it something that just kind of popped up?
It's definitely something that kind of popped up. Like I feel I have the personality or the style or the way I'm able to talk to people, which is an extremely friendly, open, and understanding way, and can relate to people very easily. But still having that position of like, okay, I'm still the boss, or being firm with them or letting them know. But it's like I said, it's a family, and it's almost like I'm the parent. But like, you can come to me for anything you need. But if I have to tell you off, I will tell you off. But they'll never take. But they just won't take it personally. I think my approach to how I talk to people comes off really well, and I think that's why they took me on as CEO, and I was just like, I really, ever since I've gotten into it more, I've fell in love with it more and more, and it's like, I really want to, even more want to be a part of like the esports industry, on any capacity, and I hope it's always with 1620 Kings, and I hope I can help, take them to the next level. So.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. It must be cool to kind of see how 1620 Kings has grown, even since you've been there and been a part of it, and just watching that organic growth happen.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Like, because obviously I talked with like Ant with Kings for a while. Like when I was with ETS, and we're quite friendly. And seeing them from the outside, it's quite interesting when you're now on the inside, seeing how how the clock works on the inside, and it's quite crazy. Like, it's sort of like, wow, man. Like, if I'd stayed with ETS, I had so much work to do, and I just know it would just been all on me to do, and it just would have been too much. And
Yeah.
you need people who are just like ready to commit and put that much effort into it. And yeah, it was crazy when we went inside. It was scary, but also awesome. It was exciting. It's like, man, these guys are switched on. This is so sick. Like they're so ahead of the curve for like an org. When I saw, it was like, they weren't that big, but I'm like, they're the way they've prepared themselves and what they've got going on behind the scenes. They're acting as though they're just one of the biggest orgs in OC, and it's so good. So yeah, it's gonna be some big things to come.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
So on that front, like when you obviously scout and have a look around for people. What are some of the qualities that you look for, potential management or potential players or content creators, anyone that really wants to be involved with your brand?
So we do have we always have managers for each position. So we have managers for content creation, for teams, for players, all that sort of stuff. Um, Size, when it comes to like players and managers, like size, socials, and all that means nothing. Obviously, we scan over it to see if they're the type of person that will openly say certain stuff that might not be good for an org. That won't be the end all, because obviously, those things, that's the past, and we can say, okay, just don't ever do that again. Obviously, depending on what it is. And then it's just like it's quite professional. So if they want to be a manager, there'll be the whole send your resume, your references, all that sort of stuff, your history, what you can do, even their job they do in IRL can also translate into how they're going to manage people as well. Like, because one of my previous jobs was also a personal trainer, so I guess that helps with how I am able to relate and talk to people of a variety of different types of people. When it comes to teams and players, I guess it's just how any team would go out and scout. You would obviously check their vlogs, They're old games, maybe references from old teams that old orgs. Because usually when they come, or they say, they'll say they're X org. We'll go and talk to that old org and ask them about that team or that player and what they're like. That plays a big role into it. And then when it comes to content creators, obviously it does come down. There is a little bit of size. We all know that picking up a content creator is to help bring eyes to your organization. But then the big thing for us, because of our mental health standpoint, is we watch that content creator for a while, and we want to see if that are there any signs that they're not going to want to go this route, or are going to maybe say things that aren't going to be good for our brand. And just we've been so fortunate with the content creators we picked up, like Barator and Loza, who are just fully on board with that sort of thing, and it's worked wonders for us, and we want to keep picking up content creators that are like-minded like that. Obviously, everyone's style's different. You have the loud guys and the quiet guys and all that, but their actual how they help people is all translates the same way as to what we want. So I don't think the scouting is a really big difference to orgs out there. The only difference is obviously the big orgs, the huge ones, have a lot of money that they can throw at, big content creators, and then obviously there might be a bit more work with the smaller orgs where we might have to entice the person a bit more, or the chats will be a bit longer or stuff like that, or show them, this is our path we're going on. Do you want to ride this train with us to success? And just let them know what we got in the future, and they all get excited for it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I wouldn't see our recruitment style would be much different from your recruitment style, and maybe a bunch of the other orgs that are around our level will be all pretty similar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested though. So obviously we're both OCE APAC based organizations, but I've been trying to think about this for over the last few weeks and months, and I'm interested in your thoughts. Is what does esports in OC region have to do to see a sustainable future out? Obviously, we've seen different countries start to sort of head in this direction where it's becoming a very sustainable future. It's very self-feeding at this point. What do we have to do as a region to see esports succeed?
I find when I was sort of first in it, I found I could see OCE struggling in the fact of like with our own like actual like Australian, New Zealand players. The bigger they get, the more likely it's just like soccer in say Australia, when like we have our local teams that would be one player who's just killing it, and he'll just get picked up by an EU soccer company because they got billions of dollars, because soccer's huge over there. It's no different from say in in the US and stuff. We have like one Call of Duty player who just absolutely destroying, who's a standout. They'll probably just offer him money, send him over there, he's gone. So in that aspect, to compete money wise, it's very hard unless you're an OCE and you just move over to EU or into US. But to build, I think with OCE to build up, I think organizations, and like we're just doing now, is like working together and helping each other promote. That's why we're like obviously trying to eliminate toxicity, and banter's all good and fun, but we all know the line. But try and build each other up, and then reaching out to say players that aren't in the US or aren't in the EU, like we said, like reaching out, like we've sort of done and other orgs have done, is reaching out to like the Pakistani and to Tekken and to different games and different styles like that, and giving those regions recognition and eyes can be a big boost to our organizations ourselves, and help us build up to be able to maintain our own players and our own platform as well. But it's going to be hard no matter what, because it's a money game in the end, and like sometimes that's just how it is. Like cash is king sometimes, and I think that's why we need to work together, as a community and as orgs, and just build each other up. And if one of us blows up, if one of our orgs just blows up to be huge, that org is known to be from OCE. That just helps all of us in a turn. It doesn't like hurt us from another org blowing up. So like Collateral blows up and gets 1 billion followers on Twitter. That doesn't hurt any of us. That just promotes us more as a total, And so I think that's just what we've got to do to make OC more sustainable in the esports world.
Yeah, I've definitely been a big believer in it's not org against org in OCE. It's actually everyone working together. Obviously, we're all got our own different
Yeah,
niches and personality traits and things going on. But if we're working together, let's celebrate the successes
yeah.
of each other's orgs, and that's the way we're going to see a brighter OCE future. Because I think, and it definitely helps eliminate that ego value and that toxicity. It helps erase all those from, and we actually just get to a place where we're celebrating the wins of one another orgs.
Yep, 100%.
Uh,
So,
yeah, you're right, mate.
oh,
You go. No, go, please.
so I guess that brings us into who do you think the big movers are in, or like org speaking and even players? Like, who do you think the next up and coming is? Who's making the moves? You know, who's really setting the I guess the precedent of where we all want to be.
It's tough because it's just like everything I think with esports and gaming, the market's so flooded. Like there's so many orgs out there, and there's so many orgs on the same level, and there's so many orgs above. There's orgs that are on the exact same level, and you know there's some organizations I feel like who aren't recognized well. Like you could have two orgs of like 1,500 followers, but one of them's putting out just like incredible content, and they're just not skyrocketing, not getting recognition because the market is so flooded. Um, there's obviously organizations that I feel like who are heavy, who do zero content creation but do heavy team, which is really good. And then it's like you could say like an org like I think like Bliss are doing really well. I really like what they're doing. I think their content creation is really clean, and I think they're doing a really good job at that, along with having some really good competitive teams. That's what sort of we like to do. We're trying to have some really good competitive teams and have our toes in multiple games while pushing out some really good content, having good content creators. I think Fury is doing really well. I think they could really bust out to be potentially some huge heavy hitters, like you know chasing up behind Renegades and stuff like that. Um, I think ShadowNet are really cool. They're just a little bit quiet, I feel like, on the content creation side of things. But what they're doing with community wise in their community in New Zealand and stuff like that is really, really cool. It'd be cool if that got some more recognition because that's good to see. Like, you know, they're not just into gaming only. Like they're trying to use their platform to help, you know, just communities within, you know, their area and stuff like that, which is really cool. So like I said, like that's their sort of niches going community wise. Ours is mental health, others is content creation purely, some's team purely, some's both. I can't really pinpoint who's gonna blow up. Like you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like I could say any team's gonna blow up and then next week we don't know what's going on. They could just like plummet and run out of funds or something could happen or um you know, like, and even with like you guys, like Collateral, like you guys sort of come out of nowhere and you're getting a really good response, and I think you've got a really good brand. Your CS:GO team's doing really well, and you're doing the hard yards early and trying to set yourselves up for success. So you just got to keep doing what you're doing because you're definitely going to travel well. And then obviously, you know, I can say, you know, oh, I think we're the biggest team, 1620 Kings, we're the best in the world, but that's just being biased. But I think we got a good chance at doing really well and making a good name for ourselves. But like I said, it's time and money and effort, and yes, that's just all it comes down to, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's
Yeah.
it's so hard to tell the volatility of like social media and whatnot. Like it can be any org at any time could just cop this flood of followers one month, and all of a sudden it's a total game changer for them. It's just so hard to tell,
Yeah.
um, like who's doing
Reaching
what and
out,
what's going on.
yeah, reaching out to the right sponsor at the right time, your team winning at the right time or losing at the wrong time, like anything can happen. You know, like we could just have a good month of our Valorant team could just be switched on for a month and win all the tournaments and just kill it all, and then straight away we're blown up. Everyone notices a sponsor will come to us, boom, we're huge. You know, it just a lot of things sort of have to line up, and it can make it really hard. But and like I said, because the market's so flooded, everyone's trying to do the exact same thing. There's so many players out there, so many things. But that's why I think we've got to all work together, and you know, hopefully we can just all blow up together. But you know, you can always dream.
I think the flooded market though has been really good for our player pool as a region. We're seeing we're seeing probably what like back when I was growing up playing Modern Warfare 2 and the original Modern Warfare, there was a lot of really good players, but they're all just casual because there was no real scene for it. But
Mm.
this flooded market of organizations has really seen bringing all those really talented players out of the woodwork. Sometimes it's just getting them all together on the one team. They become
Yeah.
very, very, very dangerous.
100%, I agree. Like when I was with ETS, that's how she picked up our Call of Duty players. When I was just playing Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare, and I'll just see a guy who was just destroying lobbies. I add him as a friend, and I'll just see if he could keep destroying lobbies. I'm like, oh, you want to join ETS, man? He'd be a cracked player. And and it's like you said, like when I was playing Call of Duty and stuff, I never knew anything about esports. There was no organization. It wasn't mainstream at all. And now it's mainstream just in gaming in general. No matter what you see, like esports is there everywhere. And it's slightly becoming mainstream, I guess, on TV. Like, they have CSGO matches streamed at like 12 o'clock at night on Channel 7 or something. But it is creeping out there, and people you can bet on it. It's on Sportsbet, all that sort of stuff. So it is slowly starting to be taken more seriously. And you can even, like with COVID going on and stuff, teams are getting special exemptions to travel because, esports is being recognized as a sport, So it's slowly getting there. And like you said, the player pool is becoming bigger. So it is good that it is flooded because there is a lot more players and people who want to be involved. But it does make it hard if you want to stand out as an organization because there's so I even had just went through Twitter the other day and I think I saw 3 or 4 orgs who had like almost the exact same like logo and stuff so it's tough in that way to sort of differentiate yourself. But like I said, I feel like you guys are differentiating yourself just with what you're doing, and I don't think there's a lot. Personally, I don't think there's a lot of organizations that start that as young you guys that push the podcast so soon, which is really good. And you got to just start testing the waters and getting feelers out and trying that content, and it's just only going to get better as it goes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the whole idea behind this podcast is push it out now and see how it works and work out all the kinks, like the technical difficulties we had at the
For
start of the
sure.
stream.
Yeah, you can spend tens of $1,000s on a podcast setup, and you'll still have technical difficulties because everything's still new.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's the thing, that you got to find what you're good at, and I feel like every organization does one thing that they're good at, especially. Like, you can have all 10 fingers and toes in different areas of the market, but you're only going to have, 1 or 2 things that you're just amazing at. Like, I think that's just how it goes with everyone, even all the, big orgs of North America. And I guess that's what our premise was, is try something different that not other orgs are doing at this stage.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. As you just look at say something as simple as 100 Thieves has all the money in the world, and his teams are really struggling in all of them, from Valorant to Call of Duty. Like they're all struggling. So money still isn't everything. You can still have all the money in the world and you can not perform. So sometimes you just got to be able to do what you can control and can make quality content out of, and just make that your niche and do well at that.
Yeah, quality content and merchandise is definitely their strong point. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's questioning whether Nadeshot's whole model. I think it seems like his model is I think when I was reading about it, when I was watching like a small little documentary thing, he was kind of going for the make a clothing brand to make gamers look cool again, make them look less geeky. So I think he hit that niche like we were talking about for orgs. He hit that niche very well.
Yeah, he made just like people want to wear that gear out in the street, like it's just casual streetwear, which is like not yeah. He's obviously making millions and millions of dollars, but like I'm saying, like it still doesn't buy you a team that's gonna win. Like
Absolutely not. No.
oh, yeah, obviously like matter. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, I'm killing it. Content creators have got all these amazing content creators, he's killing it. But like still, you can't always just have that winning team no matter how much money you got. It still comes down to the quality of the individual. And like I said, we're smaller orgs and we just gotta pick the battles that we can do well at. And like you said, the podcast is one of your things. Our mental health side is something that we know we can do well at, and you just keep doing that and just make that your thing, and then everything else will just fall into place.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to know, like I was kind of alluding to before, we're seeing all these really good players come out of the woodwork, and we're seeing all these teams come from nowhere that have these superstar players essentially that they're super talented. So I'm interested to know, are you like who do you kind of identify as some of the big superstars, the Sentinel tens, if you will, of the APAC region?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, personally, I don't follow individuals too much. I more follow teams as a whole. So I might be watching what an org's team is doing.
Yeah,
And then I'll watch them, and then you might go, okay, I'll just watch the individual players through what they've put out through there, and then go, okay, he's an FA, maybe we'll chat to him, stuff like that.
yeah.
So I don't really know too much about individuals. I don't see at the moment there's any team that is absolutely destroying it in any game. Like, we've already seen some upsets already through all games like CS:GO and Valorant and stuff like that. So I don't think at the moment, I think it's pretty even playing field around those types of orgs that are around like our size. Like the CS:GO, the Valorant, like, from say, the 300 followers to say the 10K followers. I feel like the skills are not too far, are all very similar, because like you said, the player pool is so massive. So there's so many to choose from. And like, you can't just go, oh, you can't just pick up two teams. You always got to pick one. So I think that's why it's a very even playing field. Um, it's just the only difference I think would be between the bigger orgs and the smaller orgs is that maybe the bigger orgs can offer a bit more through the space of like having coaches and managers, and maybe even sports psychologists to talk to and stuff like that, to give that tiny edge on game day. But apart from that, I don't think there's any massive standouts where I'm like, man, they're killing it every single day, or like, this is crazy. Like, so.
Yeah, it's one of the highs and lows of running an esports organization is
Mm.
one day your team's killing it and the next day they're battling
Yeah.
on, but it's riding that wave and navigating through it each and every day, because every day is different. So what are for you some of the big obstacles you've kind of had to face going through and running 1620 Kings or running ETS? What are some of your own personal obstacles you've had to kind of work around?
Through ETS, because we didn't have any contracts or stuff like that, it was more or less through trying to keep players through loyalty, which is really hard, especially when a player gets really good and they start to realize their worth. It's almost impossible when they get real good, which is fine. Like, if they want to make a career, I'm never going to be angry at a player. If someone offers them more money, I would not be upset. We all know it's a business. That's just part of life. They want to make it in this world. That's just what happens, like,
Yeah.
so that'll never upset me. I don't see that as like, oh, you're unloyal. But maybe when, like, if they offer the exact same, it's like, come on, man, we're with you from the beginning. They're offering the exact same, like, come on, stick with us. We can do it. So that sort of stuff it's very, like, neither here nor there. With Kings, obviously it is easy because you have contracts and stuff like that. But then again, like, if an org comes across with a huge offer, there's not too much you can do. That's just part of the game. It's just like us. If we go to an org smaller than us and we offer more, that's just part of the game. So it's sort of hard to say. The obstacles has been more like, dealing with when maybe players who have such huge potential and aren't putting their all into it, which is fine. But it's like, dude, I know how good you are. I know you could just literally destroy everyone if you just put in that little bit more work and a little bit more effort. And it's not like waste. It's sort of wasted talent, but it's just like, man, like, that's probably one of the obstacles, is like trying to get everyone on at the same time, because that everyone has day jobs. Everyone needs to make a living and all that sort of stuff. It's different when you're like the huge orgs, when that is their job. They're getting paid to do that. We're not, orgs like at our size aren't going to be paying, 100K a year for you to play video games. You're paying whatever you can per month to stay on and, shoot some people for nothing, more or less.
Yeah.
So I think it's trying to convince them to show up to trainings, do the coaching, all that sort of stuff. that's the hardest thing is trying to say, man, you can do it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
When you haven't got the resources to convince them to you have to do it. You don't have to do it. But like I think that's one of the obstacles I find hard is just keeping all of our players to keep doing that sort of thing. But look, they all do the best they can with the time they have, and it's just like me. Like I can only do the best I can do with the time I have. Like I have, I don't get paid to do this. I just do it because I love it, and that's what we sort of try to instill to them. Like just do it because you love it. Like I know it's hard work, but just do it because you love it, and you never know. Like if you perform well, we perform well, then we can go out and help get a sponsor or something or anything to help you even go further in your career.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, there hasn't been too many obstacles. It's just I think the only obstacle is when you're just getting flooded with so many people who maybe want to join is trying to decide who's the best option to go with. Because like
Yeah.
I said, there's so many people in the market. It's easy to make the wrong choice or easy to pick the wrong person who they're all good, but they could just be the one like you missed out on that one who was going to be massive. And it can sometimes be like, shit, man, we missed that. But that's just part of life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hastelicious in the chat says, can work harder in the time you have. Absolutely. It's about capitalizing on that time you do have in your spare time. And when you do get that spare minute, okay, well, how am I going to use this to be productive? But it's also
Yeah.
find that balance of how do I get downtime? Is that
Just be like my boy Arnold, sleep faster.
sleep faster?
He says, man, sleep faster.
Have you found that hard to balance Ace, like being in gaming now? When to separate, well, this is actually my time to just go and play games and kind of chill out, and then having people kind of wanting to get a hold of you all afternoon or all evening while you're trying to have that downtime.
Dude, I'm cooked, man, every single night. I'm cooked every night. Like I'm getting older by the day, bro. Like I got crow's feet up everywhere, man. But like you just keep grinding because you like it's gonna be worth it one day. And that's what I mean. You hope it's gonna be worth it one day. 100% doesn't even feel like a part-time job. It feels like another second-time job. So go to work all day, come home, doing this until like 1 a.m. either doing king stuff or trying to push out my own content creation, and then or also just having like my own downtime to play video games. Because like you can be streaming and playing video games, but still that isn't really downtime. Even though people will see as oh you're just playing video games, I'm still having to engage with the people, make sure I'm getting clips, then edit those videos to put them onto these social medias, all this sort of stuff. Like even I probably waste maybe a couple of hours at work every day. I could probably be home 2 hours earlier if I wasn't like watching Discord and all that sort of stuff. Because you can just imagine, say, if Collateral Kings had our own huge office building, like a proper building, and say your CEO, and then below you is the CAO, and then you have the general manager below that. If someone comes in the office, it's funny. I got a message today, but I'll say what happened. It's quite funny. But say someone comes to the office and goes, I'm here to ask to be signed by Collateral. That will go to the person at the desk, and that person at the desk will then go to the general manager. That general manager can't sort it out. That general manager will then go to the next person. If that person can't figure it out, that will then go to you.
Yeah.
Where like when you don't have a physical building and you're working through online, that person can just message you straight away. So you're getting messages because they know they can. Like I'll just message the CEO. I'll just go straight to him because I can.
Go straight to
It's
the top
just like,
dog.
yeah, and then I'm getting messages from Fortnite players saying, "Oh, 1620 Kings to sign me." I'm like, why?
Who are you?
It's like, why? It's like,
Sell yourself,
he's
mate.
he's like, cause. I'm like, cause why? And he goes, because I'm gonna do things. I'm like, what things? You've given me nothing. I know nothing about you. Sometimes I'll say, "Oi, 1620 Kings picking up players." I'm like, for what game? Like they give me nothing. Like, and that's why Ant and that really liked when we had our first conversation. Like I sent them a resume and everything that's about me and what I do in my past and what I want to do, and that's why they pretty much were like. I remember seeing like messages because when they invited me, I could see all the old messages and like this guy's like first time ever we've gotten a message like this. Someone actually sending us a resume and shit like that. So you Fortnite kids, stop messaging orgs and saying sign me. Give us a reason. Give us an actual reason because we do have Fortnite players. We've got some great Fortnite players, and they gave us the right information, and that's why we signed them. So the more effort you put into showing us why we should sign you, definitely a better chance at you coming on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we had a similar situation the other day as well. We had just on that point of selling yourself, we had a guy message us. He's like, "Hello, I have a question." I was like, "Okay." And
Mm.
I had to pry it out of him like, what's up? And he's like, "Oh, I want to play Fortnite for you guys." Oh, sorry. I want to play Fortnite for you guys. I was like, and he just didn't say anything else. I was like, you got to give me
Eh,
something else, man. You can't just message me
yeah,
and like, oh, I just want to play Fortnite. So if you're watching this podcast, can I encourage you, when you message an org, sell yourself.
yeah,
Make sure you have a portfolio together to show the org you're applying for what it is you can possibly offer.
hundred
You know,
percent.
we I don't know about Ace, but we get these all the time from left, right, and center. We have orgs messaging us. I'm sorry, we have players messaging us, but they don't have anything to really show for it except that this. Oh, you have to believe me. I'm good at the game. So come
Yeah,
prepared. Come ready to show what you can do. Because there's plenty of opportunity out there. You just have to sell yourself the right way.
exactly. Yeah, because these guys, they're not even sending me like even their socials, like send us rankings or something like that. Like, it's just like me. I've never played I've played Fortnite, but like I'm not a fan of Fortnite, and I could just go to any org and just say, "Oh, sign me. I play Fortnite." That's what it feels like. I have no idea who I am, no idea about your quality, and that can come across all games. But we just seem to find it more in the Fortnite. I think it's just with the younger generation. They're not sure how to present themselves yet in that sort of professional manner.
Yeah.
And I sort of do. Now I'm sort of getting a bit more blunt in the way I'm responding. So I'm just telling him, "Who are you? What are you doing? Tell me a bit about you. What's going on? Like,
Mm.
just tell me." Where before I'm like, "Hey man, and I try to pretty much ask him for the information. Now I'm just like, "I'm over it, man." And I'm just like, "Go to that Fortnite manager. He can deal with it. Go to that Fortnite manager."
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
But
what you hired him for, eh?
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Don't talk to me. I'm the CEO, man. Leave me alone, man. I'm gonna go in my Discord channel and go hard in the Oval Office. But then I'm still getting DMs, man.
Yeah. Oh well, it's been a fantastic podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, Ace. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Salisha says doing it right now, applying now. Hopefully getting that resume together. I don't want to see any DMs to anyone just saying you should hire me.
Yeah, link me your YouTube that's blowing up with 2 followers.
Come with content and how many wins you've had, like what sort of tournaments you competed in. That's all important stuff. But thanks so much, Ace. It's been so good having you on the podcast. Really do appreciate you taking out the time. All the best to 1620 Kings in the future. You guys look like you're killing it. We're a big fan of you guys. Yeah, so thanks.
No worries, I appreciate it, guys. Good coming on. I'll definitely be keen to come on again if you ever give me the opportunity.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. Hazelicious says they've won Scribble before, um, so that's something to put down.
That's definitely an achievement.
Yeah.
There's more times than I've won.
All right, well that's it from us at the Collateral Podcast. Thanks so much for watching. We'll have a link down in the description on YouTube to Aces and 1620 Kings socials, so you can go catch them there. Other than that, that's it from us. Have a splendid rest of your week. Stay safe, have fun, make friends. Peace out.
Peace out, boys.
So yeah.